Well, hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Eric with American Business Systems. I want to welcome you here to the webinar this afternoon. We're going to talk about what are the best ways to market doctors. Got some great information for you this afternoon. I look forward to spending the next hour with you. As everybody knows that these webinars go by so quickly, so what I'm going to ask you to do is, since there's a lot of content that I'm going to be covering today, is if you've got a question that's very specific to the topic at that time, go ahead and ask me that question, because I want to make sure I try to stay on topic as best I can. Then towards the end of the webinar, if there's some questions that I didn't answer during the webinar, feel free to ask me those questions then, because again, we want to try to make sure that we stay on topic as best we can, because I am going to cover a lot of information and hopefully share with you some content today that you may have not thought of as you're thinking about getting started with us here at American Business Systems. So as of always, you know, with technology, as I was getting this all cranked up here, it looked like we may have had a little technical difficulty before that was resolved fairly quickly. So I think we got everything resolved. So hopefully you can hear me loud and clear. Okay, for those that are keep popping on in here, today we're going to talk about what are the best ways to market to doctors. So obviously, a lot of you here on the webinar today, you've been looking at a business opportunity with us here at American Business Systems. And as you well know, what we do is we have a business model, business opportunity, not a franchise, to get started in what's called revenue cycle management, or as it's more commonly known as medical billing. So that's what we're going to be dealing with, because first of all, you need a doctor in order to start doing your billing and making your money. And for a lot of you, your first question is, how do I get my first client? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, I will refer you back to the last couple of interviews that we've had here recently. We've had a couple of great interviews from some of our business owners here at American Business Systems, talking about how they got their first client, how quickly they got their first client, how some of them may have struggled about trying to get their first client, but then switched back to what we taught them, and then just started getting their clients there. So again, today, the whole topic is how are we going to teach you to market to doctors? I'm going to give you some exercises that you can actually start doing now before even investing. And the reason I say that is because I want you to see how easily it actually can be. Now, I'm not going to have you go out there and market to doctors, because the last thing I want you to do, now hear me clearly, the last thing I want you to do is go out and market to doctors right now, because there's a lot of things you just don't know. However, you can be able to take some of these practices that I'm going to share with you today and actually start doing that and start helping you see how easily some of this can actually become. So I want to make sure that I'm being heard. So I'm going to switch over to my next slide here. So if you just make sure that I'm being heard, if you'll just find the Q&A box and just kind of type in where you're calling from, because again, I like to see where people are calling in from today. I always like to make sure that we've got people from coast to coast. So if you don't mind just typing in maybe the state where you're located. If you want to include the city, that's fine. But I'd like to make sure that I'm being heard loud and clear today. Again, let's put in some states. There we go. Ohio. So we got the Midwest covered. There's California. We got California covered. Let's see if we got anybody on the East Coast. Let's see if we got any East Coast people here. Come on, folks. I know that you're out there. Let's see who else we have out here. We've got more than just the two that have piped in here. Okay, we got Texas taken care of course. We got Kansas City. So, I mean, we've got the middle to the west. No people out of the East? Come on. I know that there's got to be somebody. Illinois. Here we go. Come on. Oklahoma. I'm telling you, we got the Central and the West Coast taken care of. All right. Oh, come on, folks. There's got to be more. You got to be somebody. You got to be out there from the East Coast. Florida, North Carolina. Anybody? Okay. Let's see what we got here. All right, again, for those that are on here, remember, if you kind of came in a little bit late, I'm going to ask you to kind of reserve your questions to the topic that I'm at on the screen. That will help me to stay on topic, because I want to make sure that I cover that topic in completeness. And then, if there's some questions that I did not get a chance to answer for you during the webinar, feel free to ask me those questions there towards the end. Okay, let's see if we got anybody. There's Colorado. Okay, well, listen, we're doing pretty good. Again, my name's Eric Ogier. I'll be your host this afternoon. Never know whenever somebody might pop in, so I'm going to keep that option open here for the webinar. For those that have been researching American business systems, I can gladly tell you that American business systems is fastly approaching 30 years of being in business. We've helped people truly from coast to coast. We usually have a ton of people from the East Coast, but it looks like it's either they're shy, they don't want to put it in there, or we got just everybody from the central over all the way to California today. But the reason this is all works and some of the things I'm going to be kind of talking about today is the billing platform. And the reason that this is so important in your business model and your way that you may be marketing to some of your doctors. I want to share a little bit about that. But for those that are doing your own due diligence, our platform, our billing system is a web-based. So if you think about it, more of a cloud-based system. You don't have to load anything on your computer. It is a secured login. So you're going through a secured portal. That means that all the patient data, none of it resides on your computer. So that's a good thing. You don't have to keep up with securities. You don't have to keep up with all the other different things that you might need to keep up with on that, because it's all on that side. So whatever you're doing from here, it's secured. So you've got a secured portal lock, access into the iClaim and EMRX platform. It is powered for us by NextGen. We've partnered with them for several years now, and they are graciously not only have got this platform for us for iClaim and EMRX, but they actually support us in so many areas. So once you've got a doctor and there's any technical needs or any things that need to happen, you're always having them as your support group as well. So what a great partnership that you're going to have there. And we've talked about so many of the other different parts of American business systems. You can see here all the different services that we have. Virtual care, AutoGuard. I'm going to share a little bit about those today. I did want to recognize or at least share with you, some of you that are on the call, you know that I always like to give you kind of a homework session to go do. So here's something I'd like for you to do. Just go out there whenever you're through with the webinar this afternoon and go out there and just search on the importance of virtual care or what's called remote patient monitoring. Just go out there. There are a lot of things that are happening out there, and ABS is one of those business models that we have here that has actually launched that. We launched that just right as COVID was coming on, because this gives the doctors the opportunity to manage their patients from home with blood pressure cuffs and scales and all different types of devices like that, that helps them take care of their patients much, much better, even if the patients can't even make it into their office. So this is a great avenue, obviously, even for the doctors to make money. And you can actually have that as a separate thing. You may never do the doctor's billing, but you can source out this information on virtual care. And a lot of our services that we have here are like that. You may never do the billing for a doctor, but you'll end up gaining that business because of the service and the customer service that you're bringing to the table. The folks that started this business was Patrick and Linda Phillips. They actually started this way prior to 30 years ago, because Linda was actually doing the billing for a doctor. And then Patrick had the idea, along with Linda, to start this as a home-based business. They began to start teaching their friends at church and some of their other activities that they were in. And lo and behold, now Adam Phillips is now there as the CEO of American Business Systems. And so Adam, being in his late 40s now, he grew up in this business. This is all he's ever known. So not only has he become the CEO, but he is also an author, and I'm going to share a little bit about that with him. He's also written some articles in some Billing and Coding Advantage magazines. And even with the virtual care, there's some other parts of the system that all work together for doctors that need some credentialing, and for some other resources for storing documents and everything else that go along with that. So we've got all of that covered. All right, so one of the things that I left in my slide deck this week was a reminder for those that are brand new. You may not have done this yet, but go over there and download the 5 Secrets to Success. Now, why this is important, because just last Wednesday, our last webinar that I did last Wednesday, I covered those 5 secrets in depth. So what you may want to do is go over there, get it downloaded. Even though you may have to fill out all this information once again, what it's going to do is just generate a link to you so that you can grab it. And your contact will stay with your same business coach that you're working here. But at least you can take that and then download it. And then what you can do with that is follow along in the webinar that I did last Wednesday. And you can kind of see it in print, but also how we discussed that during the webinar from last week. All right, so we've been at this already for 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and clear some of my Q&A box over here. I see everybody that's piped in is going to pipe in. We've got a good crowd today, and I appreciate everybody being on here. And again, as we go through it today, I want to again remind you to reserve your questions for whatever the topic is at hand, and I'll try to keep this. Before I just dive straight into how to market to doctors or some of the ways we're going to teach you how to market to doctors, I want to make sure that everybody understands, do you even know how much a medical biller earns? This is important for you because what I'm going to try to do here is try to help set you on the path of becoming a business owner in medical billing instead of as an employee as a biller. Because we get a lot of questions that come in about, do I have to go to school? And do I need to go to a billing school? And then do I need to go work for a doctor's office? Do I need to get certified? Do I need to be licensed in my state? These are questions that come up quite frequently through the webinars and through what we hear on our individual calls with you through your business coaches here. So one of the things that does get asked is, well, really, how much does a medical biller earn? Some of you may have done some research on that. You know that it's not bad income if you're going to just do billing for a doctor. Now, remember that you may be doing billing for a doctor's office, and inside that office, that doctor may have a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant. So you may end up doing billing for 3 different providers in there. But again, you're only getting one salary. So let that kind of sink in for a little bit. So this next slide kind of shows you the breakdown. Now, I was able to grab this earlier on this year because this was the newly released 2023 Medical Coding and Billing Salary Report. All right, so for those that get certified, all right, and you can see the first one up at the very, very top is a certified professional biller. Their median income is about $56,981. Now, remember that number there because this number is going to be very important as you can kind of keep going through this. Now, the next level is what's called a certified professional coder, or a CPC. Now, this is important here for you to know because a lot of doctors will ask you, do you do coding, or do you have a certified professional coder on board? As a business owner with American Business Systems, you can clearly say yes. But if you've just gone to school just to become a medical biller, that doesn't qualify you to be a certified professional coder. That's a completely different animal. Then you've got the certified outpatient coders. Then you've got other different coders here, as you can see there. And now it bumps up to auditors, expert outpatient folks there, all the way to a certified professional compliance officer. Now, this too is important because this actually includes some of the things I'm going to teach you today about actually how to get a doctor. Now, I'm going to pause this screen here real quickly, and I'm going to go back up over here into our suite of all the services. So let's conclude everything that we're looking at. Well, we saw a certified professional biller, right? That would be taking care of iClaim and EMRX. Okay, so that's the billing side of it. We also looked at it as a certified professional coder. Now that service will fall underneath AutoGuard and CodeWrite. So you can see that's also included in your package. And then the one that was a certified compliancy officer, you can see down at that kind of little box there where it says Compliancy Guard. That's where you also have the capabilities of having a certified compliancy officer. Now, these are important because what you become whenever you become a business owner here at American Business Systems, you automatically have all of these different services ready to go. Because each of those services, we've got folks in the background who have already been schooled in all this. And instead of you having to hire somebody or you going to school for that, only to make what you can make out of here, all you might be able to do is bring these folks in, services that make some money on top of that, but then you're expanding your business with the doctor's office. All right, so we can see, though, that the average, we took all of the averages there. The average to be any of these certified, qualified for what's called revenue cycle management is $67,680. Okay, now that's going to be a very solid number for us to be able to work with. Now, let's talk about how much time does it take you to become a medical biller? So if you just stopped today, you said, you know what, Eric, all this sounds great, but I think I really need to get some further education before I really start this, because this is what my friends are telling me that are, when they get started in business, they had to get certified, this, that, and the other. So if you would go down that route, how long would that actually take you? Well, it would take you just about, let's see if I can pull this up over here. Come on, little clicker. There we go. It's going to take you anywhere from 6 months to a year and a half. Okay, so if you've got that type of time, you're not in a big hurry, that might be an option for you, okay? But remember, all you're going to be able to do is billing for a doctor's office. Now remember, if you do that, you're going to do all the billing for 3 doctors and still make that $58,000 to $60,000 a year. However, if we turn it to how much time does it take you to become a medical billing company, it's going to take you less than 30 days. And the reason I say that is because immediately when you become part of American Business Systems, you already have 30 plus years of experience behind you. You have all the different services that you're going to need. You have all the experts behind you, including us here at American Business Systems, to help you get your first client, close that client, demonstrate to the doctor what you're able and capable of doing. So this is why it's only going to take you just a fraction of the time to get started. Because whether you go down the route of a medical biller to go get certified and or start the business here with American Business Systems, either way, you're going to still have to end up getting a client. So this is why I'm telling you, it's going to still take you some time to get that first client. So let's talk about how much money can you make with one doctor. Now, this part of our website, you can find on the front page, and you just scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's a calculator there. And that calculator will allow you to put in a billing rate, the average amount of claims the claims that the doctor may get reimbursed on, and then the number of patients that doctor may see. Well, with one client, with one billing client, charging that doctor at 7% at $150 per claim reimbursed, seeing only 25 patients a day, and folks, y'all know that most doctors see more than 25 patients a day. Your potential income for that year is $68,250 a year. Now, again, that's why I said this number down here, the average is $67,680. With one doctor billing at this rate, you're just over the bump as what one person would have to do at a doctor's billing for 3 doctors, and that's the cap of what they're going to make. So the question really becomes now here, do you want to do the billing for one doctor, making only about $60,000 to maybe $70,000 a year, or do you want to work with multiple doctors? And I think most of us always want to see what we can do to work with multiple doctors, because if you took that, let's just call it $60,000. Let's bring it down. Let's even bring it down to $50,000. Let's don't even go as high as all that. If you were doing billing for 3 doctors, only making $50,000 per doctor, you're at $150,000 a year working for 3 doctors. Now, let's talk about the time that that's going to take you to do that work. That work in a day's time working for 3 doctors will probably take you no more than a minimum about 4 hours a day to probably no more than 6 hours a day of doing that. And again, you're not locked into an office. So if you got things you need to do during the day, or if you want to, if y'all remember Bob Wilkie, if he wanted to take some vacation time, where I think he's going to be doing that pretty soon, he knew that he can take all of this with him and not even worry about skipping a beat, because all of his doctors know him as being a remote biller. Some of his doctors are there in Washington State. Some of them are not in Washington State. So really, it just doesn't matter where you are with these doctors. So I wanted to kind of set that stage for you and let you kind of just let that soak in a little bit for you to understand that, yes, there is ways you can just become a medical biller, but you're going to cap yourself. But if you become a medical billing company, and this is what it's all about, This is what you can do. Now, let's talk to you about how you can get to those 3 doctors. That's what you came here to do. The first thing you need to do is know what the doctor's pain level is. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that is obviously know some of the things that we know. We first of all, we already know that doctors are in pain. Folks, doctors are still trying to climb out of the COVID pandemic with their finances. And so this is very, very important for you to understand. So when we go through your teaching here at American Business Systems, the first thing we're going to deal with you and try to get you up to date on is really, what is the doctor's pain? You got to understand, if you listen to Dr. Vicki Racker a few weeks ago, she was also telling us the burnout that's happening with doctors. And again, here's another homework for you. Just go ahead there, again, after the webinar, go out there and Google doctors burnout and see what the burnout rate is for doctors. You can even see the suicide rate for what doctors are. Doctors are under a huge mental capacity because, first of all, they're dealing with patients, and a lot of these patients, they know that they can never cure. And that's tough in and of itself. But then if they're having trouble collecting their money, that makes trouble at the office and obviously makes trouble at home. So you got to know what the pain points are. And obviously that's what, whether it's this business or any other business, we also need to find what the pain is and then solve it. So one of the ways we're going to teach you to solve it is to begin with physician education. Now, we've got the resources already for you to teach doctors where their pain points are. Now, obviously, as you'll see here in the webinar today, you're not going to be able to walk up to any doctors and say, hey, doctor, I know that you're in pain and I've got the solution for you. No more than you have doctors walking around downtown and pulling people aside off the street and say, hey, I'm a doctor. I know you must have some pain somewhere. Let me be your doctor. Nobody would trust that doctor. They'd think that doctor is a complete kook. And that's what we want to make sure that you don't become. That's why I said, what I'm going to teach you some today, there may be some things you may want to take into place on trying to figure out how you're going to build your market. But what I don't want you to do is go out there and try to start marketing to doctors, because again, the doctors know things that you may not know about. But once you complete our training, in most cases, you're going to know more about what the doctors don't know in this field. Because remember, they've spent more time in just medicine, not on the business side of medicine. And we're teaching you the business side of medicine. So if you think of it, this is what this is all about. There are more and more people getting into healthcare on the business side of medicine that are going into work on the clinical side of business. This is just one of the areas that many people can find it affordable, and then also with a good return on their investment to get their return on their investment back and then make a pretty good amount of money. Now, one of the first areas that we're going to teach you how to find out what's going on with the doctors is you yourself knowing that there is a myth of what's called the rich doctor. Dr. Vicki Racker wrote a book on it called The Myth of the Rich Doctors. Doctors, what is their state? What is the state of your financial health? So here's a quote from her book. Physicians in private practice walk away from an average of 30% of their income. Outsourcing your medical billing could bring rejection rates to as low as 2 to 5%. This may be the fastest and easiest way to increase your cash flow. All right, so there's a lot of things said right there. First of all, who is this Dr. Vicki Racker, and why can she make such a bold statement? Well, if you haven't met her before, she is a former general surgeon who actually had this happen to her. She had a lot of things happen to her. Matter of fact, she had a person that was doing her billing in-house, doing some fraudulent things. She had to absolutely end up letting her go. But then she found the greatest result of all of her business and getting her money back was through outsourcing her medical billing. And from there, since she's retired from general surgery now, she has become a champion for doctors, and she holds a lot of different resources for doctors on their financial state alone. Now, the great thing about it is, as you'll see here, Dr. Vicki Racker has also partnered with us here at American Business Systems, which means that she actually becomes a partner of you. So this is going to be very, very important. Now, not typically we do this, but if you'd like a PDF copy of The Myth of the Rich Doctor, today, after the webinar, sometime after the webinar, contact your business coach that you're working with here and say, hey, Eric said maybe you might be able to get me a copy of The Myth of the Rich Doctor in a PDF format. I highly encourage you to get that and read the entire book. Now, There's nothing better than just being able to pull a book off the shelf and read it, because you can mark it up. And I like books like that. Obviously, I got a full bookshelf back behind me. But if worse comes to worse and there's nothing else that you get as a PDF, get at least a PDF. Now, you can get this out on Amazon. Again, I encourage you to get it. It's not going to cost you a lot of money, but it does show you that at least you're kind of walking yourself in the right direction. Also about education. So what that's going to teach you inside of that book, there's a lot of things that's going to show you the doctor's pain points. So first of all, you need to be educated so that you already kind of know when you start to do your education with your doctors, one of the first books that you may recommend them is to get this book, The Myth of the Rich Doctor. The second one's going to be The New Thriving Medical Practice. Now, I brought this in on the back side of this slide here, on this one right here, because Dr. Racker started talking about rejection rates. Let's talk about what that is first before I move on to the next slide. A rejection rate is when a biller will send out a claim, it gets to Medicare or it gets to Blue Cross Blue Shield or to Aetna or whatever those insurance companies are out there. And somehow that claim gets back and it gets rejected. So it comes back to the original biller. It could be the biller at that doctor's office. It could be an outsourced billing company. But whatever or not, that claim does not get paid. Typically, again, if they're a good biller, they will take that claim and rework that claim and get that claim out as fast as possible. But when you're in a doctor's office, you're not always doing billing. You're always doing something else. You know, be short-staffed that day. All of a sudden, the doctor says, "Hey, I need you to go clean this room so we can see other patients. Hey, can you check in some patients today?" The biller gets behind. The doctor starts losing income, starts blaming the biller. Then all of a sudden, the doctor's going, "Well, I need to fire that biller, get another biller." You can see how this goes on. But you can see here, outsourcing your medical billing claims could bring your rejection rates down as low as 2 to 5%. Okay, in our book, The New Thriving Medical Practice, rejection rates have stayed steady at above 30% industry-wide. You can see here, the smallest error can trigger a rejection. Every item must be perfect to be processed by the payer, whether it's Medicare or the other insurance companies. And you can see down here as an illustration, there was a doctor down in California that tells of one medical practice that had a 71% error rate in a single year. If you remember, we talked to Lindsay not too long ago, and I think one of her clients that she had one above 60, if not higher. I can't remember the percentage that she said there. Well, folks, what this means is that the doctors are just completely not getting paid. Do you think when the doctors are not getting paid, that creates pain? Well, obviously, I get pain. I'm in pain whenever I don't get paid. Whenever you don't get paid, I'm sure you're in pain because, again, this is how you end up living. So this is one of the things that we're going to teach you. So it also in the New Thriving Medical Practice here, let's see if I put that there correctly. We're gonna teach you some of the other things about what to do with those claims and how to fix those claims and what we're going to do. And I'm going to show you how our solution works today. So with that said, so we're going to first start off and get you to begin on with physician education. But that part of that is your education as well. So again, if you'd like a copy of the New Thriving Medical Practice in a PDF, again, I'm going to offer that to you today and let you ask that of your business coach that you're working here. Now, taking all of that into consideration, now let's start thinking a little bit deeper. What are the different specialties out there? Who could I bill for? Now, if you remember from Lindsay, she was doing billing for some folks that are in mental health. So she was working with some doctors that deal with that. But then Bob was working with folks in the beginning. One of his first clients was a massage therapist doing medical claims. Then you can go to chiropractors. Then you can go to psychiatrists. You can go to, you can bump it up there to obviously primary care physicians. Then you can bump it up to specialties. But let me show you this list here. Now, this list is a sample of some of the specialties that are out there. So if we look down the left-hand column, obviously one of the first things we see there is behavioral health. That's the mental health side of it. That's one of the areas that, again, Lindsay was working in. Obviously, cardiology, who wouldn't want to work with a cardiologist because their reimbursements are higher, obviously, than a primary care. Then you've got corrections. There's some corrections out there that you can do some billing for. Then obviously family medicine, general surgery, that was Dr. Rackner, geriatric, then you got internal meds, then you got neurology, then you got OBGYN, then you got orthopedics, then you got pain management, then you got pediatrics, then you got podiatry, then you got urgent care, you got urology, then you got women's health. I could go on and on and on. So you can see that your market out there is huge of where you can actually start beginning of looking at whenever you're looking at particular physicians that you might want to go after. So as we looked here so far, we've talked about education of the doctor. Well, obviously, first of all, we got to know what the doctor's pain is. Because if I'm in your shoes, and I was over 16 years ago, and whenever I first came across American Business Systems, I thought, gosh, this sounds like a great opportunity, but is there opportunity for me? And obviously, being in the field that I was in prior to this, doing some sales consulting and business consulting, I already knew about always trying to find out what the pain of the people that I'm working with, so I could help solve that problem. So you find a problem, you solve that problem, and you keep and you just keep kind of like spin and rinse, and you kind of do that over again. So now that you kind of understand a little bit about the doctor's pain, we're going to learn to teach doctors how to educate them, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do that here in a moment. And then here are your wide field of people here. Now what we're going to do is get you to demonstrate your credibility. Now, if you heard Dr. Vicki Racker not too long ago, she has said this: doctors listen to other doctors. Now, obviously, you're not a doctor. So what's the best next thing that we could have? Well, we could have Dr. Vicki Racker on your team. And the reason I'm showing this, not only has she written the book on the myth of the rich doctor, she has co-authored some books here with our ABS team. But if you can see there in the middle, this big old white piece of paper there, where it says Vicki Racker MD, and it says, "Dear physician," you might be able to see that a little bit. And you can see that it's obviously it's signed by her. But what it says here is that it's introducing you to a doctor. Now, understand that you've got one doctor talking to another doctor who she has the credibility because of some of the things that she's doing on the doctor side. She's always talking about doctors' financials and how to improve their cash flow. And whether that doctor is combined with you as a revenue cycle management company, and then she's the one that's introducing you, this is starting to demonstrate your credibility without you ever having a doctor that you've done billing for. And we'll talk about in your training, what happens if a doctor says, "Hey, do you have anybody that I can talk to? Do you have any references that I can have?" We actually have references and doctor's references that you can actually use before you even have a doctor, before you even start doing some billing. So right off the bat, we're going to set you up and demonstrate your credibility right off the bat. Now, remember, if you've gone to medical billing school, you're not getting this. This is not included in your exiting program there. You might have a diploma, but you're not going to have a letter of recommendation from a doctor. You got to have it here. Also, doctors listen to industry leaders. We know that. And through this, what our team has developed, we've got industry leaders. We've got industry leaders more than just Patrick and Adam and Dr. Rackner. However, through this, Dr. Rackner and Adam have also partnered together to create this book, 9 Ways Doctors Let Money Slip Through Their Fingers. Now, what's important here, you can see that little sticker, it says compliments of some type of medical billing industry, okay, or management company. It just says Acme Medical Management, okay. But what we're going to have for you is your information going straight on there. So you can give this away. These are small little copies of books. It's better than just handing a doctor a business card. You may be out some of the areas where we're going to show you how to distribute this. We're going to show you how to get this out. But you never know what hands this might fall into. But again, doctors listen to industry leaders. Now, once you get really good at what you're doing here, you can do some of the things that I was doing whenever I had my clients and I was doing medical billing. I was searching for new clients as well. Once you're comfortable enough, like Obviously, I'm a little bit comfortable about doing webinars, but you can do your own webinars. Even if nobody shows up, you act as though that there are people here and you're teaching a crowd and you post it on YouTube. And you can go do that all day long. And you can start building and you can offer books. You can say, hey, if you respond today, I'm gonna get you a copy of 9 Ways Doctors Let Money Slip Through Their Fingers. You never know what hands that will fall into, because part of what we're going to do, we're going to teach you how to set yourself up with a LinkedIn account. You're going to have your own Facebook account. And if you posting your own webinars, or if you want to, you could always call us here at American Business Systems, maybe coordinate with somebody here, maybe even one of our longevity of some of our business owners here, maybe partner with them and do one together. You can always do that. And what we're going to do here is show you, there's some action items that the doctor may have to do, or maybe it's the medical director at a doctor's office, or the office manager at a doctor's office, and all of a sudden, they're trying to figure out how to help the doctor get more money into through their billing, and they come across this video on YouTube, and all of a sudden it's you, and then you're offering 9 ways doctors let money slip through their fingers, and how a few simple ideas can guarantee private practice will thrive in today's post-pandemic world. Well, I might want to get a copy of that. All of a sudden, now you got somebody calling you, asking you for this, and now you got to leave. The second book here is The New Thriving Medical Practice. Again, doctors listen to industry leaders. And the great thing about this is, now you are combined in this industry leader as well. Obviously, you see Patrick Phillips' name down there. You see Dr. Rackner's name down there, but you always see the forward by Susan Smith, CMRM. Now, obviously, I put Susan Smith on every book, but CMRM we're going to have on there, which will include your name as the person that wrote the forward. You can see right here a little bit bigger boldness here, that you become part of the industry leader because you've written the forward to the book. And I'll even show this here a little bit greater here, because once they open up the book, and again, you see Patrick Phillips, you see Dr. Vicki Racker, and you see now the forward written by a certified medical revenue manager, which is you. Obviously, it won't say Susan Smith, and it won't say Susan Smith at Acme Revenue Management down there on the second page, but you have written the forward. Now, we've got a templated forward already written for you. Now, if you want to, you can take it, you can personalize it a little bit more, you can add to it. We will help you make sure it's ready to go to print, because these are print-on-demand books. You actually get copies of this as part of your business package here, along with all the flyers that you're going to have here. So, folks, if I were to stop today and gave you nothing more than this should bring you a lot of excitement, because we're showing you and we're demonstrating to you and answering the question to you how we're going to help you get your clients. This is how we do it. This is the model. This is the successful model. And it's not like any other model that's out there. Because part of what we're going to also do, this is going to end up leading you to a one-on-one Zoom meeting with your doctor along with us, because we're going to demonstrate to the doctor, after you've done your due diligence, of setting them up with a demonstration on their own. Again, not led by you, led by us, and we're going to make sure that doctor, hopefully, we can close that doctor. And again, we're still about 50% of those that get a doctor to a demonstration where we're actually closing that doctor. So understand that we've kind of led you on this path so far. We got to figure out what the doctor's pain is. We're going to educate the doctor on what we already know what their pain is, because we're teaching you. You're going to be able to demonstrate that by knowing that you can go to different specialties out there. And then you're going to demonstrate your credibility, because you're going to have a doctor introduce you, because we already know that doctors listen to other doctors, and doctors listen to industry leaders, which now you have become an industry leader. And part of what you're going to do along with that is making sure that you've got a solid website, not some hokey, some cookie cutter website that's out there, but one that we've already got built for you that can be customized for you. And it's not going to look like it's something that's hokey that you kind of just worked on over the weekend. But we've already built all the copy. You've already got all of that in there. And you immediately, once the doctor has your information, and you maybe give them the book, and then now they're going to go research you. They're going to go, okay, is there any validity to this company? Again, there's another way that we're going to demonstrate your credibility. And we're always adding new types of templates to this and customization to your website as needed. Now, we're not going to go through a full customization of all your websites, but we can do some tweaking. We're able to do some of the things for you. So if you catching what we're saying so far, we're helping you demonstrate your credibility by the books of you writing the foreword, the credibility of your website, and now we're going to start leading in with having a superior billing platform. Now I'm going to demonstrate that to you, again, utilizing one of your books, which is the New Thriving Medical Practice, and let's look at some information right out of there. So in the book there, it talks about cloud-based claims filing systems solve these concerns. What concerns does it solve? All the claims are completed on a secure, encrypted site. No files are kept on a local hard drive. Well, that immediately eliminates doctors having to keep their servers in their office, worried about damage, worried about theft, worried about fires, worried about floods or anything else that might, or malware of any type of things. It's all routinely and secured, backed up. It meets all the security standards that are out there because the way that a system that is like ours, it has to go through at least a third-party security system. And that happens because we got to meet the requirements for Medicare to make sure that there's no fraudulent things that happen. And then finally, for HIPAA compliance, remember that was one of those people that you could actually become a certified compliance officer. It meets all the HIPAA certifications there. Plus, some doctors want to make sure that all their information is stored safely and then it's just not sitting on somebody's computer. So we have that in the iClaim and EMRX platform. Now, I will share with you, some of you brand new, I've never seen your names on our webinars before until today. If you haven't known this, you can actually get a demonstration of our software before you become a business owner here at American Business Systems. I want you to do that because you're going to find out that ABS has a complete integrated system, which has four major components. The billing practice management system, that's what iClaim is. It has an electronic medical records, that's what EMRX is. That means that the doctors can do all of their electronic medical records right there in our system. It's not anything that's patched together. It's all one system. I'm going to go down to the right-hand corner down there where it says the patient portal. It has a built-in patient portal. It doesn't have to be, again, tied into anything or as a third-party piece of software. Again, it's all integratedly in there. And then lastly, it's got its own integrated clearinghouse. Now, some of you, this might be the first time you even hear of the word clearinghouse. So let me demonstrate to you real quickly what a clearinghouse and the role that it actually plays. And I'm going to do that utilizing this. Typically, a lot of times, doctor's office has a patient portal that sits outside, which the patient can put on all their information. And then obviously a doctor has an EMR system, again, in there. But you can see in ours that we have iClaim, and then I've kind of laid over there a little building that looks like just an office building, but I've named it that clearinghouse. Typically, that sits outside of any billing system. So if you're looking at any other business opportunities in medical billing, especially those that have software that you actually have to download or put on your computer, and then you got to store all of that information, keep up with all the different patches, and then probably have to run it on a Microsoft type of system. Some of you like Apple, but this one's interchangeable since it's a cloud-based, so it doesn't matter if you're a Mac user or if you're a Microsoft user of any sorts, or the Google Chromes or anything else there. You can log into our system at any time from anywhere. But the difference is our clearinghouse actually sits inside of our billing system. So why is that important? It's important because it keeps everything integrated inside the system, which means the patient portal the information that the doctor will collect on the patient through the EMRX part of it, the electronic medical records part of it. And when the doctor's through seeing the patient, instead of having to fax that information over to a biller, if they're in-house or they're outsourced anywhere, that information goes directly into iClaim. There's nothing missing here. Plus, once you get through with the claim, it's going to go through the clearinghouse at the same time. So from there, it's going directly to the insurance companies. Now, this ought to, even if you don't know anything about a clearinghouse, you would think this has got to make sense. But most billing systems out there have to use a third-party clearinghouse in order to get to the insurance companies, not ours. We go from our iClaim system directly to the insurance companies because our clearinghouse sits within inside of our billing system. That is leading with a superior billing platform. And this is where it gets great because, again, remember, before you even land a doctor, we want to be able to demonstrate this information to a doctor, and we can do that for you. And we'll be happy to be able to do that for you. Now, moving through, going what's next, I'm going to teach you, again, this is one of the areas that now you could actually start doing now before you become a part of American Business System. And that is learning how to build a strong networking mentality. That's what I want to talk with you about right now. We've got about 14 minutes left on the webinar today. And so this is going to be the bulk of what I'm going to teach you here at the end of the day. Folks, as I mentioned last week on our webinar, and one of the 5 secrets to success is that you got to have people that trust you. Well, the only way that people learn how to trust you is that they know you, they like you, and then they trust you, okay? So this is something you can begin to start doing now. Now, some of you may already be doing this. You may already have a good, strong network of business people that you're already in fellowship with. This is really what this is all about. You're known in your community. You're known in maybe your larger part of your community. You may even be known in the medical billing world community or the medical community, which is great. But you don't have to start there. We're going to teach you how to get there. But how do I get there? What are some of the avenues of which I can get there? Well, there's a couple of things that you can do right now. One of them that costs probably $0, except maybe if you end up going to a lunch, and that's on the right-hand side where it says the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Now, every city has a Chamber of Commerce. And I promise you, every single month, that Chamber of Commerce has a luncheon. Now, unless they're in a very, very small podunk town, they may not be doing that. But excuse me, but I bet you 95 to 99% of Chamber of Commerce is where you live, they're going to have some type of monthly luncheon. So here's your to-do list, is go out there to your Chamber of Commerce, your local Chamber of Commerce, call them up and say, do you have a luncheon coming up? Do you have a business after hours coming up? Do you have any events coming up that I, as a prospect wanting to join your chamber, that I can attend? Folks, this is how you start to build a strong network within your community. The second thing that you can certainly ask there when you get to your chamber and you go interview them, you can certainly ask them, do you have anybody that's in this organization that's in the medical field? I know they're going to be there because I know who shows up there. Home health shows up there. Nursing homes show up there. Some of the smaller hospitals show up there. Some of the behavioral health clinics show up there. There's a lot of physical therapists that show up there. There are chiropractors who show up there. You get where I'm going. Then while you're there, you can say, hey, I just also want to find out, do you happen to know if there's any medical billing companies within your organization that are here in the Chamber of Commerce? It's not going to hurt you to learn about them. Find out about them. Drive by where they are. Check them out. Do some due diligence on them. You may find out that they're a medical billing company and they may not be servicing any doctors in the area. If you were to do that with some of our ABS licensees, maybe in the cities and the areas where you live in, they too may not be doing medical billing with any doctors in that area. So this is one of the things that I'm trying to give everybody on today's webinar, a to-do list, an action item today, not just something that you listen here and you go, man, this sounds really cool. I think I might like to join American Business Systems. I think I might be able to make some money. Today on this webinar, I'm giving you some action items that you can literally go out there and start doing this month, the month of August. And the reason I know this is because just yesterday, I attended my local luncheon to my Chamber of Commerce, and I do live in a small town. And believe me, guess who was there? Home health, physical therapists, chiropractors, all these people that are in the healthcare business were there. And you need to start rubbing elbows with them and start getting to know them. And then say, hey, can I take you to lunch? Can I have coffee with you? Who are the people that you're dealing with? What we were talking about there is the BNI and our website. AB System is our general website. But we have what's called the licensee support site, and that's a private site. Once you become an ABS licensee or an ABS business owner, you can be able to go there. And we show you an in-depth look on the importance of networking with your businesses. But again, I'm telling you right now, you don't even need to wait for that. I'm telling you, go out there and start building your network. That's what you need to go start doing. Go out there and start building your healthcare network. You don't even need to tell them that you're getting involved in medical billing. Just tell them that you are a healthcare specialty that helps people with their revenue cycle management. That's all you need to talk about. Okay? Go out there, start introducing yourself. If this is something serious that you want to go out there and do, and then start taking these people to coffee. Go do your own lunch and learns. Folks, we've given you so much information just through our webinars that you could probably hand yourself over a cup of coffee or a lunch. But remember, it's not you telling them all about you. What you want to be able to do is ask questions and have them tell you about them. So tell me what got you into healthcare. Why are you in with the home health group? Or why were you with a physical therapist group? Or who do you know out there? And what makes this area in healthcare? What are the biggest needs here that you find in healthcare in this area? And I promise you, you're going to find one, because remember, we have all these suites of services that you're able to bring to the table. You're going to help be able to do that. Once you get a little bit more sophisticated, and this is really more on the after side of it, after you become a business owner here at American Business Systems, then you may want to start having what's called educational events, where now you want to bring in 2 home healthcare companies, bring in a group that deals with retirement homes or independent living homes. Bring in some physical therapists, bring in some chiropractors, set up a lunch, have them over and talk about some of the issues that you know that we're going to teach you how to deal with. Eventually, you're going to have a doctor show up or a medical office show up, medical director of an office show up, or office manager show up. And through that, you can learn how to, without it hurting you, go around and start doing some direct marketing. And what I mean by that is not just going in and saying, hi, my name is whatsoever, and I'm with whatsoever company, and I'm here to peddle my medical billing. No, don't do it that way. We're going to teach you to go in there and say, hey, I am hosting a event, and I'd like your office manager to attend. It's no charge. It's only going to take about 30 minutes, probably during lunchtime. I'm doing it right down the road. I've got some other folks from our Chamber of Commerce that are going to be there. Hopefully you guys are part of the Chamber of Commerce, so come on and see what you're doing. You're building credibility, because remember, you're already building your network prior to becoming a business owner here at American Business Systems. I've already taught you the biggest thing that you need to do already. But then you're going to utilize all this to say, hey, I want to invite you to a luncheon. I'm holding a luncheon down the street. Or I'd like to come in and bring a lunch for you guys, kind of tell you a little bit about what we do specifically on HIPAA compliance. Because you can follow up with this. Who is your compliance officer here at your doctor's office? And may I speak to that person? you're going to end up finding it's probably going to be the office manager, if not the doctor themselves. And then building a strong network is finding sales reps. And that's the other people that you're going to find at these networking places. At the Chamber of Commerce's and at BNI, you're going to find out people who are in the healthcare sales already. So team up with them, take them to coffee, take them to lunch and say, hey, tell me about the doctors that you're servicing right now. Are they fine financially? Or do they need help? These are some of the things that you can find out there. And then about the warm market, we're going to teach you how to build your network through your warm market. Again, this is another part of our ABS LSS screenshot. We're going to teach you how to take your warm market with people that you already know, your existing customers, your network, and all of a sudden now you've got an entire network of people that are already learning to trust you, know you, like you, and then finally trust you. I'm going to close with this afternoon, and I may go over just a little bit because we had that little bit of a problem there with the internet. So if y'all bear with me about 5 minutes after the hour, just bear with me and I'll make sure you get all the information. We want to teach you how to build with proven solutions. Now, we have all of these different solutions. These are the same thing that are on all these different boxes. However, again, you're going to get all of these as professionally printed material for you. It's on high gloss paper, but it'll have your contact information on it. I'm going to first start off with code writing because this is one of those ones that a lot of people go, do I need to go to coding school? Remember, I don't need for you to go become a certified professional coder. We already have that service. We have certified professional coders already to do everything that you need done. And all you got to do is if the doctor needs coding, you scan that information in to our coders. They're going to charge the doctor a little bit. You get to upcharge that because you're basically reselling it at wholesale prices. And all of that information comes out there for you. Same thing with AutoGuard. There's tons of doctors that are under what's called an audit, a Medicare audit or some type of billing audit all the time. And this is a service that you can actually market to doctors, and to remember, you're dealing with people that know, like, and trust you from the Chamber of Commerce or BNI. You've met with some sales reps, and you've got some people that are in the healthcare business and saying, hey, I've got a service called AutoGuard. And what we do, we can take the doctor's current charts without ever doing their billing. We can identify any possible coding errors and make sure that they get them caught up and make sure that they're billing correctly. You will become the champion. And then Compliance Guard. Again, this has to deal with HIPAA. One of the most violated of any parts of a practice is in the area of HIPAA compliance. If I could get everybody to raise their hand, I've already got some hands raised here. Let me see if I can lower all the hands here. Lower all hands. Okay, great. Do a little poll here. How many of you ever walked into a doctor's office and you've seen somebody else's chart when you go check out? Okay, there's 1, 2. Come on, everybody. Have you ever been to a doctor's office and you've seen somebody else's chart? Yep, there's almost 100% of the attendees today are raising their hands. So, folks, you've got to understand that this is a huge problem. So, Compliance Guard simplifies the compliance tracking, and it satisfies all the HIPAA and what's called high-tech risk assessment requirements. And then for doctors that need help with collections, we've got ways to help go back and get that money, that's what's called old money, back into the practice. We've got that covered. Then finally, building with proven solutions. This is the area finally you get to. Remember, we talked about the doctor's pain. We've identified that pain, and you're going to start finally build that trust there because you build credibility with a doctor introducing you, because we know doctors listen to other doctors. Doctors listen to industry leaders, which you become. And finally, you get to that point where you have that one-on-one meeting with that office manager or that doctor, and you go through what's called a practice analysis questionnaire. Once you complete that, you're going to take all that information and put it in a practice revenue report, and it's going to look similar to like this. Now, this is a real one that was done by one of our real business owners here at American Business System with a doctor. And you can see at the very bottom what the numbers results are. How about, doctor, we could possibly increase your monthly revenue by 58%. That's an additional $10,000 more a month that you can actually have in your pocket. This is what's important to you. So as we end today's program, in today's webinar, you're going to endure. Now we've started, we've got things going, and now you're going to endure with a proven stability, because again, ABS is not going anywhere. You're going to be part of the largest network of medical billers in the United States, and that is through American Business Systems. So even with the problem with the internet that we had today, we still got you through what are the best ways to market the doctors. Now, I close out today by sharing with you this. We try to take on the risk more than you take on the risk. And yes, do you have to fill out the paperwork? Yes. Do you have to fund your investment? Yes. But that is not the end. So many business opportunities and so many franchises out there do not give anything like what we give. Because again, remember, we're taking the greater risk. Because during this 30 days, we're going to teach you everything in more depth and what I've been able to share with you, even on the webinar today. You're going to go through an entire training. So now you're going to be able to have 30 days, and it's only going to take you 10 to 15 days to complete the training. But you have a full 30 days to figure out if this is the business that you want to be. And if you, at the end of that 30 days, you say, gosh, I've been through your training, I've listened to all of your stuff, I just want to get my money back, I don't feel comfortable, and will happily, again, and really happily, refund your money back and get your money back to where you are, because that's actually in the contract. So that's what I need for you to go do. So go check out and get our research guide. You know, folks, that it's probably 75 pages or more. That's on top of the 5 secrets that I shared with you. Go get that. Go browse our YouTube channel. This is where you're going to find all those past webinars I've been talking about. For those that are brand new, this is the first time you've ever been on a webinar. We've got a library load of different webinars out there you can go check. I can just think about the last 3. Last week, I did the 5 secrets to success. The week before that, we did Lindsay with an interview, which is a business owner here at American Business Business Systems. We did another one prior to that, which was Bob Wilkie. We did that one. Folks, we got you covered here. So go watch as many as you want to go watch. Then I want you to talk to references. You can go talk to business owners here at American Business Systems, and we want you to do that. I mentioned earlier that we can do a live demonstration for you. And as a matter of fact, Adam was on right before we got started. He was actually starting a demo for somebody. And if you haven't done that yet, you want to see this actually in action. Get the purchase agreement, review it. Again, on the first page, I can see it right there. It talks about the refund policy. That's that same 30-day money-back guarantee. You can see it's only a paragraph long. So we've taken out all of the loopholes of what it means to how we may not be able to give your money back. There's nothing of it like that. It's simply, if you're not satisfied within 30 days, get your money back. And then finally, get your funding and your training and get the ball rolling. I appreciate you hanging in there. I told you if you give me 5 minutes after the hour, we got it right after that. There are a few questions here that I want to answer because you guys have been so great of holding all your questions till the end if it wasn't particularly on that topic. So now what I'm going to do, again, if you want to stick around, I'm going to try to answer some of these questions as I go through this. So let's see. Okay, everybody says here, thank you for this webinar. Good job, Eric. Thank you. Appreciate it, James. I appreciate you doing that. Registering with the, okay, so Larry's asking over in Kentucky, for additional credibility, do you recommend registering with the Better Business Bureau once you become a business owner with American Business Systems? Yeah, why not? I mean, it's not going to hurt you to do that. You know, there's always pros and cons to Better Business Bureau. You know, they're gonna end up, you know, if you stay in the business long enough, they're gonna catch up, you know, kind of what business are. Do you have any complaints against you? So obviously there's some things you can do that. To me personally, I wouldn't do it. I didn't do it. What I would do again is get involved with your local business networking groups, your Chamber of Commerce's, your BNI's. There's a plenty of out there. Matter of fact, I just learned some yesterday when I was at my little Chamber of Commerce. I found that there's some activities in healthcare that I didn't even know about. So So I think that would be great. Larry's saying, got it. Thanks. Current chamber member. Okay, so Larry, go over there. Go talk to your executive director at your chamber. Sit down with them, man or lady, doesn't matter. But just say, hey, I'm in the healthcare business. I'm about to launch a new healthcare industry here in the community. How many other healthcare industry people do you have in the chamber? Find out about them. Home health, physical therapists, occupational therapists, all of them that you can. Launching on August the 9th. Okay, so Larry, if you attend the webinar next Wednesday, I think that will be the 9th. Yeah, it will be the 9th. So 7 days from today. Hopefully it'll be during lunch hour. You come back, give us a report on that whenever you get back on the webinar next week. That'd be great to hear. Appreciate you, Larry. I appreciate you sharing that. He said he'll do. Well, great. This is awesome. Well, and hopefully today you see that we're really here to help you. We want to make sure that you make the right decisions before you sign the dotted line, so to say. That's why we take the time. That's why we do these webinars every week. Now, remember, in just about 4 more weeks now, I think there are 5 Wednesdays in the month of August, maybe only 4, but at the last Wednesday of this month, I'm actually interviewing our director of support, Tim Warren. So you're going to want to put that one on your calendar. That'll be a great webinar for you to attend. Hopefully this has been a good one for you, even though that we had a little bit of the technical difficulty. I appreciate everybody staying on there and hanging in there until I got back up on the internet. I appreciate everybody doing that. Listen, if y'all got any questions, call us here at 866-565-8413. Shoot us an email over at info@absystems.com. My name's Eric. Y'all have a great night. Have a great weekend ahead. And I'll see you next Wednesday on the webinar. Y'all have a good night, everybody. Good night. Bye-bye, everybody.